So as you guys probably know by now, sports world is ablaze. Luka Doncic gets traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a first round pick, and the Utah Jazz somehow find a way in this because they get Jalen something something and like other picks. The Utah Jazz, we're going to talk about that in a second. The biggest news is Luka going to LA for Anthony Davis and Max Christie. Let me first explain to you why you're seeing the reaction that you're seeing. I think that's the context that everybody needs in this situation. The context is, why is everyone shocked? And it's simple. This doesn't happen. Trades like this don't happen. And what do you mean trades like this don't happen, Jalen? Trades like this doesn't make me get out of bed on a Sunday morning and talk about it like that if it wasn't seismic. They say that a person is always going to show you how they feel about you by their actions, not their words. You can words sound great, but if you don't show how, if your actions don't back up your words are meaningless. Now, in this sense, the Dallas Mavericks didn't praise Luka as much as I guess the fans did. However, this trade tells you a lot about how the Mavericks organization viewed Luka moving forward. You know why I feel this trade was made? Yes, I think Nico Harrison, the GM now, he spoke about defense winning championships, and for people that know Luka and watch Luka, he's not a good defender at all. He's actually one of the worst on-ball defenders in basketball. He also said that I think Shams and Windhorse, shouts out to them. You know, they called Stephen A. Smith in the middle of the night, was talking about the Mavericks also didn't like Luka Doncic's conditioning and how they felt he was frequently overweight. Okay. All of that can be true. But the thing that I think is getting lost in this whole thing is Luka is 25 years old. Meaning he's still early in his career. He can still change some of those habits. Now, yes, I'm not including the overseas stuff, but this move happened, this trade happened because of the Supermax. And the Dallas Mavericks showed you that they were not comfortable giving Luka Doncic the Supermax, would have been like $314 million. Let's not think, let's forget the fact of a person that is 25 years old is eligible for the Supermax. You know, I think Austin Rivers said it, and I definitely agree with the sentiment, man. This is probably the third biggest basketball story that's dropped. Definitely the first time a trade has happened. Because remember, LeBron went to the Heat in free agency. That was probably the biggest news, obviously with the decision and everything. That was probably the biggest NBA news thing of my life. And then KD going to the Warriors, which is also a free agency thing. That happened July 4th. And then this. I started this by saying that trades like this don't happen every day. You don't usually see, I'm not going to say you don't do it, you don't usually see a 25-year-old face of the franchise get traded. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying AD is a scrub. I don't think anyone is saying AD is a scrub. I think the fact that the Mavericks get AD is huge. You pair AD along with Kyrie and what's left of Klay Thompson. That's a pretty cool trio. But it's not Luka, Kyrie, and Klay. I'm not saying that this makes the Lakers an NBA Finals lock at this point, because again, Luka is still out. Luka is still a ball dominant player along with LeBron James. We'll see how that works. Luka and Kyrie worked really well, and those are two ball dominant players. So I don't know, but this is seismic. This is, something is seismic when you see current basketball players just go start tweeting away. I can't. This is huge, man. This is crazy. This doesn't happen. But I think Devin Booker said it best, man. Anyone that would have looked at this situation from the outside looking in would have thought that Luka Doncic is an untouchable player, untradeable player. Not because he's bad, but because you don't let talent like that walk out the door, especially for, and no offense to them, but especially for Max Christie, 1 first-round pick, and Anthony Davis, who isn't old, but older than Luka Doncic. And while he's been healthy the last 2.5 years, he does have an injury history. And then we didn't even touch on the fact of none of the stars knew. Luka didn't know until it happened. AD didn't know until it happened. LeBron didn't know apparently until it happened. And then the Mavericks go to the Lakers and say, yo, we want to trade Luka. In football, I tweeted this. In football terms, that's like if the Cincinnati Bengals called up the Baltimore Ravens. It was like, hey, yo, Baltimore, what's good with you, man? Look, we're trying to get off of Jamar Chase. We just don't want to pay him the supermax. We think that he's a distraction in the locker room. I just don't like how that guy gets down. So this is what we'll do. You trade us the 4th round pick plus Kyle Van Noy and Brandon Stevens, and you have Jamar Chase. The only reason why I didn't say Joe Burrow is because I don't know. This is seismic. What the Dallas Mavericks did last night / this morning is they ensured for the next, let's say 7 to 10 years, that the Lakers will have their star. This move, I don't think that this move was for the now, even though the now is you get a player that just dropped 70 last year, a player that just led their team to the NBA Finals while they didn't win. He led a team, mind you. Remember who's in the West, and the Dallas Mavericks, led by Luka Doncic, made it to the NBA Finals. And that's the thing that I think the most shocking thing for me, I'm not saying for everyone, but for me, is I'm looking at this trade and I'm thinking about this trade, and I'm thinking about all the factors that we have. You have how Kyrie's looked this year. You have how Luka's looked this year when he's played. You have how Klay Thompson's looked this year. Anthony Davis has looked this year. I'm thinking, man, they say that, I think the Nico Harrison said that this was a win now move. Dallas is in a win now mode. And what I can't wrap my head around is, do you really think that this is a win now move? Do you think that now, even though I do like the combination of Kyrie Irving and AD, but Do you think that getting AD makes you that much better, especially when you had Daniel Gafford, which you didn't have to give up, Derek Lively, which you didn't have to give up, PJ Washington, which you didn't have to give up? Do you think that that makes you seismically better than, let's say, a Boston Celtics, than let's say Denver Nuggets, than let's say OKC Thunder? I don't know. Especially the Thunder when they get Chet Holmgren back. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm not crapping on Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is a premier player, especially what he's looked like at the peak of his career and what he's looked like the last few years. When he's healthy, you can argue he's a top 10 player. But there's no argument that Luka Doncic is. In fact, the argument with Luka Doncic right now is forget being top 10. He can be the best. People think that he possibly is the best or second best player in the league. And he just got traded. That's why it's so sad. You don't see the best player. You don't see the best player in the league, or let's say top 3 player in the league, right? You don't see him get traded, especially for the package. When you see what Rudy Gobert got, Rudy Gobert, while he didn't get Anthony Davis, you got more of a haul for Rudy Gobert than the Dallas Mavericks did for Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic. Shocking, man. Shocking. It's so, like, I'm not going to say a winner or lose. Well, I'll say it like this. I always look at winners versus losers as who gets the prize. Like, who is happier right now? Who has the better player? And did the other team get something comparable to that player? And while, yes, you can say that Anthony Davis is a great player, which he is, I'm not here saying Anthony Davis is not. But Anthony Davis, at this point of his career, as great as he is not Luka Doncic. And then you can say Mikal Bridges. He got a haul. And that's probably a good example of something being equal in a sense of, while no, the Brooklyn Nets didn't get the player that Mikal Bridges, they didn't get a player back. You know the direction that the Brooklyn Nets are trying to go in, and they got a bunch of draft picks, which is what they're trying to do. Dallas is talking about win now and gave up the best player in the deal. I'm going to leave it here. I'm probably going to sit on it. Pause. Jesus loves you. I'm probably going to sit on the information and come back on Wednesday and probably break it down a little bit further when more information. You realize I didn't talk about the Utah Jazz. You know, one thing that I am happy about, the last thing I'm going to say, though, one thing I am happy about is usually if there's a 3-team deal and there's always one of those teams that has no business being in this deal, usually that team is the Wizards. Like, I don't know if you noticed, usually that team is the Wizards. Usually that team is like, let's say Steph Curry gets traded in a 3-team deal. Steph Curry gets traded to the Boston Celtics. The Golden State Warriors get Peyton Pritchard and like 4 first-round picks. Then the Wizards get cash. Like, it's like, why is the Wizards in here? Usually that team's the Wizards. So I am happy that it's not the Wizards. It's the Utah Jazz. Why the Utah Jazz was in this? I have absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. But I'm going to leave it here for now. And, yeah, a move like this requires something like this. A move like this for you see it. This shit is wicked. Again, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I had to hop on here, and see you guys Wednesday. Much love. Oh man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.